I get this question asked at me all the time. It's like, hey, Sean, how much marketing do I need to do to reach my revenue goal? How many leads do I need? How many marketing touches? How many sales qualified leads do I need? So big shout out to Mac McIntosh at Acquire B2B. Several years ago, he built a pretty cool calculator, which I've then expanded on to help you answer that question. Just how much marketing do I need? Now, is it perfect? No, but at least it gives you some kind of construct and some kind of idea of how many marketing touches you need to generate inquiries, marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads, sales accepted leads, etc. Okay, so let me show you this calculator. I think you'll find it really handy. So let's dig in. So in this case, let's just say we want to generate $1 million in revenue. Next question is to ask you is, okay, what percentage of that goal should come from sales or from marketing? That's for companies that have both a sales department and a marketing department. Usually marketing will own 40 to 60% of that number and sales owns the rest. I would say on average, marketing owns 40% of the number, sales owns 60%. But if you're just trying to figure out what it's going to take from a marketing perspective, generate the number of leads you need, then start off here with 100%. Now, what's your average sales size? Okay, so a lot of people wonder, how do I calculate that? Look, take all of your sales, divide it by the number of actual customers you have. There's your average deal size. It's very simple. Sure, you're going to have small clients and you're going to have big clients in most cases. But by doing it simple, number of average deals that you've done divided by the number of clients you have will give you your average sale size. Okay, now we need to look at what's the percentage of sales opportunities your company will win. That means if I give you 10 qualified leads, how many of those will you close? Now, the industry average is 20 to 30%. So let's just say 25%. In some cases, you might be higher. Some cases, you might be lower. But whatever that number is, plug it in right here. Now, these little triangles, if you scroll over them, they'll give you some industry averages that actually are a little bit dated. But I'll have to tell you something, they really haven't changed over the last 10 years. In fact, I ran this calculator through a new client. We picked up a new tech company, pretty good sized tech company. And after going through the calculator, they said our numbers were spot on. Find that this will be definitely good enough to guide you down this path of figuring out how many marketing touches is it going to take for you to hit your revenue goal. Okay, what percentage of your responses will become marketing qualified leads? Now that means someone says, hey, I might be interested. How many of those will actually have budget, authority, need, time frame? The typical marketing qualified lead criteria that will constitute they are actually a good lead. Industry average 4 to 8%. Obviously, the better you are at targeting and being relevant will increase that number. But if you're broadcasting to everybody with kind of generic messaging, then that number is going to be lower. I'd say it's safe to probably put in 6%. So if I generate 100 inquiries, 6 of them are actually going to be qualified leads. What response rate do you expect to get from your marketing campaigns? Now, it's pay-per-click campaigns, it's email campaigns, it's you name it. So this again goes back to how good are you at marketing? How targeted are you with your campaigns and your messaging? How relevant are you? Now, years ago, Marketing Pro says, hey, it's less than 0.5%. Serious Decisions, which was kind of the de facto a B2B consulting firm, said it was 2 to 5. I think that's kind of a big range. Again, it goes back to how effective are you with your actual marketing efforts. All right, then the next question we'll ask you in the calculator is, what is your marketing lead generation budget as a percentage of sales? Now, on growth companies, it's not uncommon for like spend 60, 70% of the deal on marketing just to acquire that deal. So they were obviously on a land grab. They're hoping on keeping you on the system longer. They're counting on that lifetime value. So they're willing to spend, sometimes companies will spend almost 100% of their revenue just to get you on as a customer, because they're counting on you once you become a customer that they're going to keep you. So your lifetime value is higher. But typically speaking, a growth company is going to be 12, 30% of their budget. So if you're trying to reach $1 million, it's going to be 12,000 to 30,000 to hit that number, or 300,000, I should say, hit that number. SMB market, 4 to 8%. Enterprise, 1 to 4%. You might go, enterprise, 1 to 4%. Well, yeah, you're $1 billion company. 1%, 2%, that's a lot of money. So now the next one is how many salespeople will be following up with your marketing qualified leads. So if you're in a situation where you're generating quite a few leads, you might have 2 or 3 salespeople. So I update that. Let's just say 2 salespeople on your team. Now the calculator is going to say, okay, based on the data, you've said your average deal size is 20,000. You were trying to generate $1 million. That means you need 50 new customers to reach that goal, which means you need 160 sales qualified leads to reach that goal. Because remember, you're going to close 25% of those. That's 50 new customers. What's it take? How many marketing qualified leads do you need to reach the number of sales qualified leads you need? 2,667. So marketing is going to generate 2,667 qualified leads, pass them to sales. Sales are going to accept them. Out of that, 160 are going to be qualified, meaning there's going to be an opportunity assigned to this lead. And out of those, we expect to close 25%, which means 50 new customers. So what does that really mean? Well, it means we need 500,000 marketing touches to reach this goal. Almost 45,000 marketing touches a month. Now, it sounds like a lot, and it is. So how are you going to reach that? How are you going to hit that goal? Because if you don't have that many marketing touches going out a month, you don't have that many viewers on YouTube, you don't have that many organic visits on your website, you're not getting very many opens on your newsletters, your blog visits, your social media campaigns, then you've got a problem. Because you're never going to hit your revenue goal if you don't have that many touches, because that's what it takes to generate a qualified lead, or marketing qualified lead, then a sales qualified lead, then a close one opportunity. Now, what percentage of your total marketing budget? Well, we said 10% out of $1 million. That means you're willing to spend $100,000 to make that $1 million. The calculator will tell you, hey, based on these numbers, you only have 19 cents per touch. That tells you right away you're going to have to be pretty careful about how you spend your money. You might have a trade show you do once a year. You're going to do a lot with email marketing. You're going to do a lot with pay-per-click ads. You're going to do a lot of social media posts. But this really kind of tells you where you're going to spend your money. It's also going to tell you what's your average cost per inquiry. What is your average cost per qualified lead? $625. And then what's your average cost per sale? So it's going to cost you $2,000 or 10% of that $20,000 sale just to get that deal. Now, in some cases, it's a lot higher than that. Then it breaks it down, says, well, how many inquiries do we need for each salesperson? How many qualified leads do I need for my salespeople this year and each month? So if I got 2 salespeople, like we put in here, then we need to be able to generate at least 7 qualified leads a month for them to hit the revenue goal. Okay, if I change this to 3, now each person needs 4.4 qualified leads per month, as an example. Now, here's where we start to think about other marketing touches. I want to know what you're generating in regards to marketing touches, impressions. And I'm not saying about how many emails you send. That doesn't count as a touch. It's how many opens. Opens are what count. So are you doing any mass email campaigns, non-opt-in? Are you doing any sales automation campaigns? You know, we're experts at sales automation, so we generate quite a bit of opens and response rates with email campaigns. So, but we only count the opens as a touch. If you have an opt-in newsletter, how many people are in there? It doesn't matter how many people are in your list. It's how many people are actually engaged in your list. So average out how many opens you get per month for your opt-in newsletter. How many organic web visitors do you get to your website each month? How many web visitors do you get from pay-per-click or social media or retargeting, content syndication? Put those numbers in here. Let's say it's 1,000. How many leads come from affiliates? Some companies have affiliates that are selling them. Well, how many leads do they generate on behalf of your company? How many leads from your partners each month? Do you have a reseller model? Are they generating any leads? This impacts the number of marketing touches you need to reach your revenue goal. What's the average number of leads from in-person events or trade shows? So let's say you do a couple of events a year and you want to enter that number. Let's say you get, 250 leads per event. You do 2 events, do 500, divide that by 12. You get somewhere around 25 as an example. So average it out by 12. And you just scroll over the little triangle. It'll tell you what you need to enter. Do you do any webinars? How many people actually attend your webinars? Of course, spread that out throughout the year. Do you do any direct mail? What's that look like? How many pieces are you sending? Because that's a marketing touch. Now, what's going to happen is the calculator is going to tell you, hey, based on this values, you're generating about 4,316 touches a month. But the data is telling us you need 10 times that, nearly 10 times that. You need 40,000 touches. So you've got a problem here. You've got to figure out, how am I going to increase the number of touches that are going to result in more inquiries, more qualified leads, more sales accepted and qualified leads, and more closed won. You cannot hit your revenue number if you don't have the number of touches you need. So this is a calculator is meant to help you figure out what's it going to take with the existing budget to generate that number of touches you need to hit that number. You might find that you're going to have to come up here and double the amount of money you're willing to spend. Maybe it's 25%. So, hey, if I give you $1 and every dollar you spend, you get 4 back, that's starting to look good. You might want to consider that, right? So now all of a sudden, see the impact of what's going on here. You'll see now I got 47 cents from each marketing touch. I can start to break that up and figure out I'm going to allocate more to event marketing, more to pay-per-click, more to direct mail, more to call centers. So again, hopefully this will help explain how to use this calculator and help you get you started down the path of thinking of marketing touches, inquiries, MQLs, SALs, SQLs, and ultimately close won opportunities. So hopefully you find this helpful. I'll put down in the description, get this calculator so you can play with it. If you have any questions, reach out to me and I'll be glad to walk through it with you, look at your analytics, and help you come up with the right numbers and put together a plan that's right for you. Thanks for your time.